Hey guys, Bird Yu-Gi-Oh here. Today I have an awesome deck for you. It's going to be Lair of Darkness Artifact. Really fun, really control. Has a lot of stuff that really hurts the meta. So we'll get right into it. If you guys haven't already, go and subscribe. Really helps me out and notifies you when I'm posting a new video. So starting off with the best card in the deck, Lilith. You have to play 3. If it's normal summon, its attack becomes 1,000. Doesn't matter too much. But its quick effect is you contribute 1 dark monster, and you reveal 3 normal traps from your deck, and your opponent randomly chooses 1 for you to set on the field, and you shuffle the rest back. So that has an amazing effect. It's a level 3 dark fiend, which comes up as well. But it's just an awesome card. It basically lets you search any normal trap, which there's a lot of really good ones. Also play 3 Arima. He's really good, mostly because he lets you get to Lair of Darkness, which Lair of Darkness makes Lilith, and actually him too, be able to tribute your opponent's monsters, because it makes all monsters on the field dark, and it allows you to tribute their monsters for effects. But you contribute 1 dark monster, draw 1 card, or if you tribute a dark monster that's not him, you can send 1 dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from your deck, which is almost always going to be Darkest Diablos. Because if he's in the hand or graveyard and a dark monster is tributed, you can special summon him. And very good. And then you can tribute 1 dark monster. So that includes your opponent's monsters as well if you have Lair of Darkness on the field. And then your opponent places 1 card from the hand, either on the top or bottom of the deck. That kind of sucks that they get to choose, but whatever. It'd be too overpowered if it didn't have that clause, I would think. Play 2 Tour Guide. Since it's now to 2, it just allows us easier access to rank 3s and easier access to Skarm for a search of Lilith or a search of Tour Guide, whatever you want to do. And then 1 Sangan. That's kind of our... because we play Ties of the Brethren, which is also amazing in this deck. I'll show you how that works. But, you know, they're all dark level 3 fiend. When he's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 monster with 1,500 or less from your deck to your hand. So absolutely amazing. And then for the artifacts, play 2 Scythe. If it's special summon on your opponent's turn, they cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. So that's shutting off basically all the meta decks. 1 Moral Attack. If you want to destroy, you know, most of the time it's a face-up monster, but like a field spell even. When this is special summoned on your opponent's turn, you can destroy 1 face-up card they control. So I like to play 2 and 1 Moral Attack. I think that's perfect. And then the final monster is just 1 Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Very control deck. Ghost Reaper is going to be really nice. You have side options as well. You can do basically any hand trap that's less than 1,500, because ideally you're going to be using Lilith to tribute Sangan to then get his effect and search a trap, basically. So his effect will be adding Ghost Reaper. So then on your opponent's turn, they're usually going to get Ghost Reapered, you know, obviously unless they have like a Called by the Grave or something like that. So at the end of this video, I'll show you that little Ties of the Brethren combo. That's it for the monsters. 3 Lair of Darkness. There's lots of ways to get to it. Like I said, Arima, all you have to do with him is just discard him, and then you can add Lair of Darkness to hand. But this basically makes all monsters on the field become dark, which can screw up your opponent sometimes. But then once per turn, if you would tribute a monster, you can tribute 1 dark monster your opponent controls instead. And then during the end phase, you special summon as many Torment tokens, which are 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense, to the turn player's field in defense position. So if you're tributing on your opponent's turn, they're going to be getting some tokens, but you know, then you can use those on your turn if you still have Lair of Darkness. So it's a really good card. Perfect for the deck. And then the best card, other than Artifact Sanctum, I'd say Ties of the Brethren. It's by far your best starter. You just pay 2,000, target one level 4 or lower monster. You can't special summon after you activate this, and then you special summon 2 monsters from your deck with the same type, attribute, and level as that monster. So I'll show you that combo, but really, really good. You can't conduct your battle phase, and you can't special summon after, but for a control deck, that doesn't matter at all. This is getting you everything you need to stop your opponent, basically. And then it does clash with Ties of the Brethren, obviously, but Pot of Duality, if you have it and you don't have Ties of the Brethren, it's nice to, hopefully get some more traps or just some monsters that you can use for like a normal summon. You just activate the top 3 cards, add one of them to your hand, and put the rest back into your deck. So just simple draw power for this deck. 1 terraforming to search Lair of Darkness. Monster Reborn, because you're going to be tributing a lot of, even your monsters and stuff like that. So Monster Reborn, like a Lilith back is nice. And then Foolish Burial. Usually you're going to be sending Darkest Diablos, just so you can get them back to the field. But sometimes you will send even Skarm. So then the following turn during the end phase, you can search a tour guide, you can search a Lilith. So you have a lot of options with Foolish Burial. It's a no-brainer in this deck. That's it for the spells. And then now, by far the best card in the whole deck is Artifact Sanctum. I guess we can just say this is the best trap. And then Lilith's the best monster. And Ties of the Brethren is probably the best spell. But regardless, Artifact Sanctum is absolutely amazing. Even if it gets destroyed, you can target 1 card in the field and destroy it. So sometimes you want that to happen. Most of the time, you're obviously going to want to be activating it to special summon out Scythe, but it's just an amazing card. The next best trap is going to be 3 back to the front. You want 3 of each of these so that you can always get them if you need them. But it's just simply target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. So it's a way of, reusing Scythe on your opponent's turn if it leaves the field. Getting back your Lilith from the grave to then use her effect again. It's absolutely amazing. And the fact that it's, it's not continuous, it's just a standard trap card. It's searchable off Lilith. It's perfect. And then for the rest of the traps, we just do 2 of each, because these aren't ones you have to have, and usually you can mix. So like the first one is 2 Dinomischus. It's just a really good, you can even summon it to the field from the grave, but most of the time what you're using it for is just to target 1 face-up card in the field, you discard a card, and banish it. So really good disruption. But yes, say you really want this card, you can reveal 2 of these, in 1 Sanctum, and you have a pretty good chance of getting those. And then, worst case, you're having a Sanctum, which is not bad either, but just kind of universal ones. That's why just 2 of those. 2 Compulse, another really good just regular trap card. You just target 1 monster on the field, return it to the hand. So gets rid of some problem ones. And then 3 Lost Wind. I really wanted something to help me with like monster effects. So if it just is going to negate the effects of a face-up special summon monster, and its attack is halved. And then also, when this is in the grave, if a monster is special summoned from the opponent's extra deck, you can then set this back to the field, but then banish it when it leaves the field. So you basically you can use it 2 times basically. So really, really good card. I like it a lot. So that's it for the main deck. We kept it right at 40. And actually, I will show you the side deck as well for this. Just an idea of some of the stuff you can play right now. There's a lot more stuff, like, I'm not including this in the deck profile, but Phoenix Wing Wind Blast is really good as well. You just discard a card and target 1 card your opponent controls and place it on top of the deck. So it's a good way of getting rid of some stuff. But for the extra deck, Dante, sometimes that's what you want to go to just to try to get some cards into the grave that you can use. Easily make him with your level 3s. Same thing with Break Sword, just get rid of problem cards. And then Stone King Darius, it requires 2 level 3 Fiend type. And his main effect that you're going to be using is you detach 1 Xyz material from him, and he's unable to be destroyed by battle. And you destroy the opponent's monster that battled this after damage calculation. So it's really nice at getting rid of some problem monsters. And the one level 5 we play is Consular Pleiades. You could have played Artifact Durandal. It doesn't really matter too much. I just like this. I just feel it's a little more universal. So I chose Pleiades. But and then some of the links that you'll be using. Wee Witch just requires 2 darks. IP Masquerena and Nightmare Unicorn. Really the only ones you're ever going to be going into. You don't go into the extra deck too much. And then for our Waking the Dragon targets, 1 Ultimate Falcon and then 1 Beals. They're pretty self-explanatory. If your opponent, and this is in the side deck, but we have Waking the Dragon. You know they're probably going to side a bunch of back row hate for you when they're playing against this deck. So siding and Waking the Dragon, if they destroy it, you're special summoning one of these out, and it's going to be a big problem for your opponent. And then the rest of the cards in the extra deck are just Ghost Reaper targets, because you can fit a lot in this extra deck. You really aren't going into it too much. 1 Double Helix, that should be obvious. 1 Sunlight Wolf for Salamangrade, obviously. I sold for the few warrior decks that you're playing against. For Cyber Dragons. For heroes, that's the one I chose. There's a lot of options you could do against heroes, but I felt this was probably the worst card against this deck because you really don't want your stuff banished. You want it in the graves so that you can reuse it. So getting rid of that just so you don't have to deal with it, I found is kind of nice. And then the last card in the extra is just ABC Dragon Buster. In case you're playing ABCs, it's nice to not have to deal with him for the whole game. And then now for the side deck, 1 Ash Blossom, 1 Effect Veiler, 1 Draw and Lock, and 1 DD Crow. You can easy enough to side out your Ghost Reaper to then put in one of these, or if you want to side out a Moral Tack to add in like an Ash Blossom in addition to this, you can always do that. But these are just really nice generic ones that are searchable by Sandgan for that combo. So really, really nice. Another Moral Tack, because it's sometimes for like decks that do a lot of field spell stuff, or just problematic monsters. It's nice to have another Moral Attack in there. And then Lancia, against decks that like to banish, you just stop your opponent from banishing. And then the second Skarm, I don't like it in the main as much. You can if you want to, but he pairs really well with Fiend Griefing. You just target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, shuffle into the deck, then you can send 1 Fiend type, which is going to be Skarm. So then you're getting rid of a monster in your opponent's graveyard that they're trying to, revive back or something. And then you're also getting a search during the end phase because you sent Skarm. So I find that's really, really nice. Gets you a lot of advantage. 2 Waking the Dragon. That should be self-explanatory. Side that in if you know your opponent's either playing Twin Twisters or just stuff that's going to be, destroying your back row. 2-Dimensional Barrier against like Ritual decks, Synchro Fusion, Xyz, or Pendulum. You play this and they're pretty much shut off for that turn. Neither player can special summon monsters of the declared type, and then you negate the effects of all monsters of that type on the field. So really good card. And then the last 2 we play, 2 Heavy Storm Duster. That's if you yourself are playing against another like trap heavy deck or just plays a lot of back row. Heavy Storm Duster is going to get rid of 2 of those cards. So that's the whole deck, guys. And then the last 3, just some Torment tokens. You'll need those for special summoning to either your opponent's field or your field. But yeah, super, super fun control deck. It's not very budget, mostly, again, because of the Sanctums, but they're so universal. I think you guys saw me put it in my Cosmo deck. You could put them in Ritual Beast. I mean, Sanctums are just really nice. Or the Artifact Engine in general is just really nice if you want a nice control deck, stop your opponent. So yeah, again, if you guys haven't already, go and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.